All right, Bull.
Yes.
You just asked, can we bring Matt Stafford with you?
Yeah.
Obviously not a realistic question, but I did want to spend 10 minutes on you three putting your Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry hats on.
Okay.
And if you guys were in the interview room with these candidates, whether it's Udinski today, Shieldhouse Monday, Munkin, Schwartz, whoever they have brought in, what are some of the things that you believe the brain trust of the Browns, Berry and Haslam, need to know from these candidates, whether it's planning, whether it's how they would handle certain situations? What are some of the questions you would need answers to before you felt comfortable making a hire?
It's a good question. I mean, because some of the things I'd want to know from a guy, it's hard to the most important thing to me is how good a leader are you.
Yeah.
But how am I going to find that out in an interview? I just don't think. I think it's impossible, right? So to me, that's the most important thing. All these guys can do X's and O's. Yeah, some are better than others. They're all smart. Nate Shieldhouse, I'm sure, is very smart. Grant Udinski, I'm sure, is very smart. They know their stuff. The fact that they're 35-30 and getting head coaching interviews, they're sharp guys. But can they lead? That's what you don't know, and that's the most important thing. So I guess if I were, Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam, I would try to create some way or do some exercise to find out, to get a glimpse into what their leadership style might be.
I got three.
It'd be hard to do it.
I got three.
Three, go ahead.
I got a question, I got a scenario, and I got a hypothetical. My question to him would be, tell me a time in your coaching career, wherever it's at, that you failed to get a person to reach his potential.
Right.
And I want to know what it was and what you would do differently and why you failed.
Good question. I like that.
The second one, I would ask him, I need to know, I want you to, I'm going to give you some tape. I got Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and I got Shedeur Sanders. I want you to give me three things in their game that's holding them back. Three. I want three things on each one of them that's holding their back.
I think a part of that question is, and that's a good question, but is Jimmy really looking for an honest assessment? Because that's been a flaw of Jimmy, is that he doesn't always want an honest assessment.
Well, if he don't want to,
what if you love Shieldhouse and he says, listen, you don't have a single playable quarterback in that room. None of them are any good. We got to find somebody else.
The question is, you need to have somebody in there that's willing to have that conversation. If that's how he feels, I'd be excited, because then I can get to the board.
Jimmy hire a guy like that if he was the guy?
I don't think that would be a hindrance. I don't think it would be. If somebody walked in there and said, we got to upgrade this, I think they've probably heard that over the last couple of weeks. I don't think anyone's walking in there saying, boy, I love what you've done with the place.
That's why you bring up different ideas. And then my last thing is a hypothetical. You got to start rebuilding the Cleveland Browns, but you only get 10 people to start the whole Browns organization with. Everybody else is gone. Give me the name of the 10 people, the 10 players that you got right now, and why would you pick those individuals to restart the Cleveland Browns?
I like your questions.
Because that would tell me what you value. It wouldn't be necessarily about who's better than whoever or who's good or who's not. It would be about, I'm using these 10 people to build the rest of what we have. They might be older, they might not be that great, but the culture is what I'm trying to get at.
The only problem with that is these guys haven't really been around the league much. They might not know the players on the Browns.
Oh, they know.
Yeah? Everybody knows everybody?
Everybody knows everybody.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Good. Then it is a good question.
I think you've got a good sense of it. And I think those are great questions.
Yeah.
I think those are great.
Excellent.
And to your point, you don't really know. That's where the background work comes in, because everybody knows everybody. The NFL is a little bit. The NBA is a tiny world. It's small. Everybody knows everybody. The NFL is a little bit bigger because staffs are bigger. Rosters are bigger. But still, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's got the dirt on everybody. Everybody knows who. I texted one guy and said, "Who should we be talking about that nobody's talking about?" And when I was talking about Harbaugh and why the Browns should interview Harbaugh, it was Grant Udinski. And then 4 days later, here comes Udinski. And Shieldhouse was the name that came up earlier than they know. People within the league know
who the up and comers are.
Yes. So that's where you do your background work on these guys. and you go back and you talk to their the college staffs in Shieldhouse's case, or other people at the Rams, or other people around the league. Everybody, it's hard to keep secrets, man. Word gets out.
Incestuous business.
Yeah, and it's for me. I want to know how you deal with the off-field stuff, and how would you The Browns have had enough nonsense go on. I'd give them a real case scenario. This is what happened.
Yeah.
This is what we had.
There's plenty of those examples.
This is what we had happen 7 years ago.
Peyton Hillis didn't play. What would you do?
That's a case study, right?
Your quarterback is at the blackjack table the night before the game. How would you handle that? But we're having fun with it.
No, but you're right.
And there are more things that have not gotten out of how would you handle that? Like, we had this happen to us. What would be your response to that? And so they've got plenty in the Rolodex to pick from.
Good point.
And just because to me, it's not what you know on the field, it's how you handle everything else for this job in particular, and for all jobs. All teams. I was talking to NBA GM about 10 years ago, who said if fans understood how dysfunctional we are, all of these teams are. There's 3 or 4 well-run teams in the NBA. That's it. There's probably 3 or 4 in the NFL, 5 in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's it. And the rest of them, it ain't no different of a workplace than what anybody else. If you go in the office and you sit in a cubicle and you don't like that person, and that person's lunch smells, and
the boss is an idiot.
It's the same thing. It gets romanticized in pro sports of these are multimillionaires, so they must be really smart. They must be, and they are, but they have the
they're
same.
Not always.
Well, they're not.
Yeah.
But they have the same human challenges that any other workplace does. This dude slept with that dude's girl, and it goes on. And how do you manage that, and how do you handle that determines your success way more than what are you going to call on 4th and 3 from the 30.
Maybe in this circumstance, you guys have younger, kids, and kids, when it comes to social drama and news, they handle it much better than older people. People would be they can look at a post and be they're used to seeing that. Maybe a younger guy is not going to be as, we have a lot of famous people.
Right.
Shedeur Sanders is.
They grew up on
thing.
social
media. He grew up,
and
it's maybe it's not as crazy to him. I think a lot of it too is, if you can get, a lot of it is with the Cleveland Browns, and I do believe the Browns are a unique situation. I think the Browns in the NFL is a top 5 place, the most difficult place to win.
Sure.
Yeah. Because the fan base is rabid. The fan base is very loud. We have a lot of players that we seem to pick that are very polarizing. Mm-hmm. And on the top of that, we don't be winning. And our owner is very well known. Yeah. So when you got that mix of things going on, the thing that could really help you is if you win. If you win, everything cool. But it's a difficult place to win. And if you don't win, think about how much attention the Cleveland Browns get, and we don't win. They get and in terms of attention, I don't know, McNuggets. You watched the you watched the Giants nationwide. I think the Browns are a team that if you looked at just overall aggregate in terms of it, I think the Browns are one of the.
I think because you look at 4 of their last quarterbacks that have been, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, and Shedeur are all very polarizing players. And that's why the Browns have gotten so much attention, even though they've done almost no winning.
Yep.
Yeah. Even though they've won 1 playoff game in that entire time. Yep. That's why they got so much attention. If this past season, if the Browns had not drafted Shedeur and their quarterbacks were Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, nobody would have talked about that.
No.
None, not at all.
Nobody would have.
Unless they had a surprising good season.
Nobody would have been.
Yeah,
but the Flacco. But here's another thing. We got a lot of attention because Flacco came off his couch too.
Yeah, a
couple years ago.
Yeah.
It just seems like every single year we get something.
Well, but to your point about, I forget now exactly how you said it, but it made me think in Buffalo, the Pagulas never had a very good reputation.
Right.
But Josh Allen came in.
And then you're coach, a good organization.
Yeah. And so it all gets hidden. And then Terry Pagula gets up
Yeah.
and makes a fool of himself.
Yeah,
and
it was
it's
wild
like,
work.
oh, he's still crazy.
Yeah, right.
It's
Oh,
all still there.
It's still there.
It was just Josh Allen was a giant curtain
Yes.
that covered all of it. And that's the thing. We talk about the 2016 Cavs championship.
Yeah.
I'm talking a lot of NBA today. I didn't mean to. But I was before they won that title, I was talking to people at the NBA Combine who said, like, all these things you need to win in the NBA, and the Cavs have none of that. But LeBron is so good it may not matter.
Right.
That he can cover all of that.
Yeah, and he did.
And that's what Josh Allen has done. And even though they haven't won anything,
Yeah, right.
he put up a big giant curtain around the nonsense of
Yes.
Buffalo. And that's what the Browns need, a big giant curtain.
The Hall of Fame level player in the NBA or the Hall of Fame level quarterback in the NFL will cover up a lot of the warts.
I even start to think about it. Look, it's funny because now you get these guys, and I don't know how Jim Schwartz will handle it. If, say, for instance, the other two guys don't get it, and Schwartz is the last guy standing. I don't know how he'll handle. I mean, he's a more of a get off my lawn type guy.
He's a proud dude.
He's not. I mean, he's not going to play around too much. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see what the mix is and how this comes about. At least they have three names where, at least I'm like, okay, if all else fails and I get one of these, I can gleam and see. Okay, cool.
Well, let's face it, we've convinced ourselves of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we
have no idea if Shieldhouse or Grant Udinski
at
can be
all.
a good coach.
They could get in there and be terrible.
And Jim Schwartz was terrible in his first start.
Yeah,
so
we don't.
so
We
who
have
knows?
we have no clue. We are all forecasting.
But I think for most, I know for me, like, I'll be most happy at this moment if they make Nate Shieldhouse the head coach. He could be the worst head coach.
Yep.
But right now in this moment, he's my choice.
I'm with you. And by the way, a lot of the teams are doing this too.
Yeah.
Like,
They
especially
don't
with
know.
these
You don't
first-time
know.
guys.
Yeah. Every relationship is a new one. Hardball, all of these guys. Like you go to a different place, and I remember Brian Dable was the hot coordinator. He was cooking in Alabama. He had his guy, and then Jackson Dart was playing. Until he got hurt, everybody's like, "Oh, this is going to be great."
Yeah.